Good evening and welcome. As the chaplain of the college, it is my delight to welcome you to the Baccalaureate service celebrating the class of 2023. Give them a round of applause, yes. Baccalaureate at Elizabethtown College is a graduation tradition that celebrates student voices as we reflect this season of their lives together, their academic journeys alongside their personal growth. Tonight you are going to hear from students from a wide range of worldviews and practices, Christian and Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, and agnostic, to name a few. They also have been a part of our campus experience in clubs and activities such as Lighthouse, YDSA, SEEDS, NAACP, Mad Cow, and Engineers for a Sustainable World, Best Buddies, and Emotion, again to name a few. Some have served in Student Senate, and some have served with the Center for Civic Engagement. Their studies range widely as well. We have with us tonight, and you will hear from future teachers and policymakers, folks prepared for various health and medical fields, music, and occupational therapists. Our students have studied communications, actuarial science, engineering, biology, history, music and the arts, religion, business and marketing, again, just to name a few. Their diversity of culture, experience, interests, and breadth of engagement has been a gift to witness in this community. As these students on the stage share their gifts tonight, they offer a glimpse into the larger sacred journey of connections and core development. We honor their journeys and all of the hard work that they have put in to get to this point, as well as the stories of perseverance and community. Stories I believe will touch your heart and strengthen your hope for what is possible. We will hear what mattered to them, what community has meant through their struggle and their strides to achieve their academic goals and further their work of becoming. This is indeed a sacred moment to share with you, and we do not take this gift of story and sharing for granted. It is so wonderful to be with you here tonight. Thank you also to all who are here to bear witness to this moment. We know that we would not be here without your support and your encouragement. As you settle into your seat, I want to invite Sophie to lead us in our invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, as the Elizabethtown College class of 2023, we thank you for the accomplishments you've granted us while on this campus. Thank you for our memories at E-Town, showing us your presence and guidance throughout every moment. Lord, you placed us at this college. We praise you for this chapter of our lives that you lovingly planned. Father, we ask that this ceremony would be honoring to you, for this event is to celebrate what you've done through every graduate. May your spirit fill this space, molding every heart to acknowledge you as our God. Let our class see you throughout all the upcoming plans that you have prepared for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
College is comprised of many blessings along the way. The blessings of friends, knowledge, family, and time. For me, those blessings have come in the form of joy, life lessons, memories, and progress. Small blessings like the classes that we got to take with our friends that led to late-night study sessions that somehow always ended up at J's or Sheets. It was in those moments we dreamed about the people we wanted to be and the intramural teams' names we would rally under. I had some of the best times on campus playing flag football with my friends on Wolf Field. The simple joy of a touchdown or being QB2, and don't let them tell you otherwise, I was QB2, to preface, was all the memories I thought I needed. Then COVID hit and the blessings were harder to recognize. The blessings of knowing a person or two in the IT department to connect you to the Wi-Fi was no longer useful. We were back at home and a Zoom call away and even further from campus and our friends. It was during this time I learned the blessings of family and the blessing of a meal that was not made in a microwave or at the marketplace. I was blessed to be with my family and have their support during one of the toughest semesters that I ever had. I learned a lot of life lessons about the world and myself during COVID, how people can surprise you and challenge you to be the best version of yourself. I was gifted the blessing of perseverance, as we all were during college. Perseverance that has allowed all of us to gather here today to celebrate graduating. We not only got through the past 4 years, but we found ways to thrive, creating new projects, clubs, passions, friends, and empathy towards each other. My hope in talking with you all tonight is to remind you of the blessings that we have shared and the blessings that will continue to surround you in your life. Now look to your left and look to your right. The people sitting in this room will continue to give you blessings as you do to them. The blessings that E-Town has given you will change into new forms. For me, that looks like going into a field that I love, friends to go to brunch with, a love for learning that no one can shake, a closer relationship with my family, and time to spend creating new memories from all the blessings that we have been given. I will have with me the joy, the life lessons, memories, and progress that have changed my life to help me spread more blessings out into the world. I implore you all to go out and share the blessings that you have been given and take the extra time to see the blessings that surround you. Thank you.
These past 4 years here at E-Town have led to feelings of excitement and joy, but also fear and doubt for me. Tonight, I would like to focus on the feelings of fear and doubt. I know you were probably thinking, this is a time for celebration of accomplishments and new beginnings, so why am I here talking to you about fear and doubt? But I'm not here to talk about it in a negative manner. I'm here to share a message about transforming my fear and doubt into hope, faith, and strength. At one of the open house events a few weeks ago, a prospective student's parent asked me, and caught me off guard, what is the one thing you wish you could have told yourself before starting college? I responded with, I wish I could have told myself to never doubt myself, because you never know the strength that you have inside until you're faced with adversity. I reflected on all that I went through before I arrived on this campus, and a lot of that came up in new ways in the time I was in school here. I doubted my intelligence during classes, my ability to get into highly competitive veterinary schools, and my ability to get jobs or internships that seemed out of reach. I set a lot of expectations for myself, as many students do, but looking back on my answer, I realized my doubt was not in myself, but in the fear of the plans that God had for me. I thought I wasn't capable of this work, and I had come to realize that God had given me the gifts, the passions, and the purpose to be able to do the job I was seeking to do. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus ordered his disciples, including one named Peter, into a boat, and he sent them across the water without him. He then goes to join them by walking across the lake, and when the disciples saw him, they were terrified. But Jesus said, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." Peter, wanting to test the moment, said, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." And Jesus tells him to come. Peter proceeded to exit the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. But then he saw the wind and he was afraid. He took his eyes off Jesus and began to sink. I believe we've all been Peter at some point in our lives. When we get too caught up in worldly things, we panic, we sink. We let this fear and doubt overwhelm us and distract us from the one who gives us peace and guidance. But as Peter was sinking, Jesus reached out and took Peter's hand to bring him to safety and then said, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" In times of doubt, we must reach out our hand to Jesus. When I was anxiously waiting to hear back from veterinary schools, my mom would always remind me to pray about it and not to worry so much. I spent a lot of time spinning in anxiety and doubt, but when I decided to hand that over to God, I felt more at ease. Whether you are entering the workforce or continuing your education in graduate school, always remember to keep your eyes on Him. My favorite verse, Jeremiah 29:11, says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." Class of 2023, your future is so bright. I'm blessed to have had the honor and privilege of growing with you these past 4 years. As you continue your journey, remember He is always with you, and do not doubt Him because He has incredible plans for you.
Everyone has always told me, don't let college fly by. And they were right. College really can fly by if you let it. Looking back on my past 4 years, it is crazy to me how much we have all accomplished in just a short amount of time. In just 4 years, we were able to push through the hardships and remain successful young adults. And believe me, there were hardships. Like having to finish most of our spring semester of freshman year online because of COVID, all those anatomy tests that I almost failed no matter how hard I studied, and even reading articles upon articles of research for the OT Master's research this semester. Everyone here also has their own stressors or challenges. What I failed to realize in those times of struggle, however, were all the silver linings that came along the way to make me stronger. Since fall semester of my freshman year, when my OT professor encouraged us to start writing down what we were grateful for each day, I have continued to keep a daily gratefulness journal. But even with that journal, I haven't always recognized the positive people and experiences that allowed me to rise above the hard times. Take anatomy, for instance. For anyone that's had to take it, and especially for the OT majors, we know how much work the lectures and labs require, and it was stressful beyond belief. All those nights that we spent staring at an open cadaver, coming up with creative ways to remember the muscles together, or getting to completely deconstruct a pig heart to better learn the parts of a human heart. I have to admit, despite it being a tough class, there were also so many fun parts to it that made it exciting to learn, and we all managed to get through it. We went on the journey together, we shared the same struggles, supported one another when we needed a little encouragement. I think of other silver linings, like my weekly Wednesday night trips to the bowling alley this year with some of my closest friends, or trivia nights at a local bar, fieldwork placements that made me fall more in love with my future career, completing volunteer hours that made me feel like I was contributing to the world in a positive way, exploring new places with best friends, and finding friends in a running community that motivated me to train for races I never thought I'd be able to run. The more I reflect, the more I realize just how many silver linings there really were during all of my periods of struggle. If we all take the time to look back, I wonder if we might find just one silver lining of our college experience to have gratitude for.
Nearly everyone has a location on campus that has unofficially been deemed your spot, a place that has made Elizabethtown College your home away from home. It may be the field where you would have practiced in games, fighting alongside your teammates to pull ahead for the win. Or perhaps your dorm, where you would have your friends over, endless talks with your roommates, and stay up way too late. Perhaps your spot was an academic building, where you had spent countless hours in class or completing research and other projects. Maybe it's the theater, where you would practice for weeks on end to put on a show, where your other actors slowly became your family, and you would stay there for hours on end during tech week. For me, my spot was the Blue Bean. It's where I did my homework. I would stress over classes as I tried to understand organic chemistry, or I would explain ecology to my friends, or complete a paper I promised myself I would have started earlier. I didn't even realize how much time I spent there until my friends would show up there trying to look for me. People in class would say, "Oh yeah, they're always in the Blue Bean." Or my sister would text me when I wasn't there, shocked the one time she needed me, I was at work or even in my dorm. It's where I hang out with my friends in between classes. When it didn't make sense to walk all the way home, we would order a coffee to fuel our college-induced caffeine addiction, and all sit at the table. Sometimes we were responsible and worked on homework. Most of the time, however, we would just talk about anything and everything. Someone would dance to the music that played. Another would just lay on the floor after spending hours staring at their computer screen after finishing a paper, or just going on random rants after pulling another all-nighter. A lot has happened in that little alcove. The majority of my memories feature the familiar location. And as we reach graduation and near the end of our chapter at Elizabethtown College, I'm sure I'll find myself missing the familiar place and the people I've met along the way. I hope one day to return, for the faculty, friends, and colleagues I've met along the way have made me feel at home. I'm sure I'll miss everyone, but if there's one thing I've learned after being here for 4 years, it's that once you're a Blue Jay, you're always a Blue Jay.
When each of us stepped onto E-Town's campus, we were flooded with emotions. For some, this was excitement and freedom, but for others, it was fear and uncertainty. We were navigating the campus, our classes, and relationships amongst our Blue Jays. It felt like we were finally starting to get comfortable in our nest and bond with our new family members. That was until March 2020 rolled around. We all know what happened, but I want to highlight what we learned from this devastating and challenging time for all of us. Many experienced loss, whether this was of loved ones or pieces of ourselves. It was like the worst storm in the world had knocked our Blue Jay nest from a tree, and we all had to scramble back to our original homes. We all wondered when we would see our friends, faculty, and community. We can't forget Willie, Pizza Dave, and the wonderful male service ladies here on campus. Our flock had to separate, but we only came back stronger and hungrier for those college experiences that we longed for and the education we missed. I remember stepping out into the street for homecoming in 2021 after not having a parade or other gatherings because of the circumstances in 2020. Performing in the parade is one of the responsibilities we have here for the Elizabethtown College dance team. I got to share this memory with my team, but most importantly, our college, our alumni, and our community were present that day. Everyone had a smile on their face, and they were cheering for one another. It could have been because of the candy we were throwing to the crowd, but I like to think it was because we were all together again. That's when I knew we had only grown stronger and were ready to be comfortable and grow in our nest again. We collectively faced challenges physically and mentally. However, we did what we could to push through and support one another. E-Town taught us more than we could have asked for, and not just in academics. We learned how strong we really are, and that strength should be something we are very proud of. The strength of uplifting others, no matter how hard we were knocked down. Regardless of where your path takes you after graduation, know that our nest will still be here and that we are always interconnected as Blue Jays. Now it's time to leave the nest again, only this time we are ready to take flight, and we are all destined to leave an impact on this world.
At 40 degrees, 9 minutes, 5 seconds north, and 76 degrees, 35 minutes, 30.5 seconds west, In a vibrant small room with plenty of popcorn and hot chocolate, you'll encounter engineers smiling, giggling, working on homework or projects, and conversing together about the weekly poll. The engineering hideaway has become my home away from home for the last few years, and I certainly missed it when I spent my sophomore year at home. I got my first introduction to the hideaway as a prospective student after spending the night and before attending a physics class. We visited the hideaway to get hot chocolate and some brain food for class. After class, we returned to the hideaway, and my host had a team meeting, giving me time to people watch. I observed faculty members coming in and helping students on the whiteboard, some upperclassmen working on projects together, others helping underclassmen with their calculus homework, and students coming in, getting a snack, saying hi, and leaving again. I committed to E-Town Engineering and spent most of the time in the hideaway when I wasn't in class. Here, I became close with a few older students who became my mentors. I became extremely homesick my first semester, and they helped to comfort me and gave me a familiar face in the clubs that I wanted to participate in. Without the hideaway my first year, I may never have met the people whose kindness and support kept me here. I'm grateful that we've remained in touch even after they graduated. During my sophomore year at home, I missed the hideaway. I longed to sit and do homework and test prep on the large whiteboard, to share a bag of popcorn with friends, or to just people watch the activities around me. I'm glad that I could return to the hideaway during my junior and senior years. Now, I was the upperclassman helping the younger ones and working on homework or projects. I've spent more hours in that little room than I care to admit, but the memories from it I will cherish forever. I'll cherish the memories of the banter back and forth after missing a negative sign at the beginning of the problem, thus causing the whole group to start all over. I'll cherish the memories of a professor sitting in the hideaway because their office was too small and there were too many of us, and the memories of professors coming in to heat up their lunch, and while their lunch was in the microwave, help us to understand the problems that we were working on. I'm grateful for the memories and the version of myself the engineering hideaway has helped to create.
A scripture reading from Matthew's Gospel says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven."
A reading from the Quran states, "Goodness does not consist in turning your face towards east or west. The truly good are those who believe in God and the last day, in the angels, the scriptures, and the prophets, who give away some of their wealth, however much they cherish it, to their relatives, to orphans, the needy, travelers, and beggars, and to liberate those in debt and bondage. Those who keep up the prayers and pay their prescribed alms, who keep pledges whenever they make them, who are steadfast in misfortune, adversity, and times of danger. These are the ones who are true, and it is they who are aware of Allah."
Tonight, as we approach graduation, I imagine some of you are reflecting on your favorite moments. Others may be reflecting on the tough challenges and what it took to conquer them and arrive at this moment. For me, my journey was a mixture of both. My undergraduate career started in the summer of 2019 when I tried out for the men's cross-country team at E-Town. After making the team, I knew that my life was going to change for the better. I was running with a great group of guys who were dedicated to the sport, and I felt like I was a part of something bigger than myself. I wanted to break stereotypes and prove myself, and I saw my confidence grow in and out of the classroom. I started to make my presence known on the team, and it began to reflect everywhere. I was unafraid to speak up to my coaches, make the most of myself in the classroom, and look to reach higher for what it meant to define myself as a good student and as a good athlete. I wanted people to see me for the whole of who I was. However, despite all the fun I was having and the people I was meeting, The COVID-19 pandemic came in and took away not only my fun, but so much more that was meaningful to me in my undergraduate career. My whole world was turned upside down, and I was lost, not only as a student, but as a person too. Online learning, wearing masks in public to cover my facial expressions, made it difficult to relate to others in the ways that I used to make connections that have brought me to life. While the global pandemic was not something I would have expected or wished to occur during my time in college, it taught me something integral to my experience here. I recognized how genuine my experiences were. That time revealed my gratitude for connection and for the community. Being in person felt more meaningful, and so once we were back on campus, I started interacting with my professors more and more and became great friends with my classmates because of how much I cherished those moments. I was also running well, as I was running more miles than I ever had before in my entire life. A few months into normal life changed again for me. I had a season-ending injury at the first race of my junior year cross-country season, and just like during the pandemic, I felt myself losing all the things I had come to appreciate. However, I knew that with healing and hard work, I was able to get back to the conversations, the camaraderie, and even the antics I cherished on our easy runs and even on workout days. My teammates were by my side every step of the way during the recovery process. Now, I'm happier than ever, as I have run and raced with some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. I think Rita Levi-Montalcini summed up the past 4 years for me when she said, "Above all, don't fear difficult moments. The best comes from them." For me, the difficult moments have revealed some of the best moments in my life. I hope that everyone here at E-Town embraces the difficult moments and makes the best out of them on your journey forward. Thank you and have a good night.
A liberal arts college education transforms the way we search for answers, understand what we find, and think critically about how to act on what we learn. How I view the world, how I understand the local community, how I relate to people, how I see myself and my place in this world today is very different than it was 4 years ago. I have learned how to think critically, how to defend an argument with evidence, how to make informed decisions, how to lead, how to be inspired, and how to inspire. This has been an eventful journey of discernment in finding my calling, purpose, and vocation, and I can very proudly say that the greatest and most monumental decision that I made was joining the class of 2023 at Elizabethtown College. And our journeys have all been different. My journey started on the High Library steps, which I still remember like it was yesterday, as I said goodbye to my parents on move-in day as part of the transformative Momentum program run by Professor John Paul Benowitz, who I was a participant in. And it has taken me to places and opportunities that I never thought were possible. Between working in Alpha Hall, juggling schoolwork while solving nationally featured cold cases, leading history club on campus, and more, there's so much that I'm grateful for on this campus. These 4 years have been a journey, and we've done it together, regardless of our paths over these 4 years. The work we've done and the leadership of this class has left an indelible print on this campus. We used the Rudder Handbook our first year and the Compass Handbook our sophomore year. And we move forward now as a class, and the journey continues, but we have that final compass, which we discovered here at Elizabethtown. It is time to take flight as Blue Jays and leave the nest, better than we found it, and with a mission to do good, because there's so much to do. And I'd like to end this journey with a quote from President Harry S. Truman. "Carry the battle to them. Don't let them bring it to you. Put them on the defensive, and don't ever apologize for anything." Thank you. Blue Jays always.
So the poet Jane Hirshfield once wrote, "My life was the size of my life. Its rooms were room-sized. Its soul was the size of a soul. In its background, mitochondria hummed. Above it, sun, clouds, snow, the transit of stars and planets. It rode elevators and bullet trains and various airplanes, a donkey one time. It wore socks and shirts, its own ears and nose. It ate, it slept, it opened and closed its hands and its windows. So I've been thinking a lot recently about the size of my life here. My life at E-Town over the past 4 years has seemed at times both insurmountably long and almost imperceptibly short. I remember stepping on campus for the first time thinking that this was a chance to start fresh. I could begin this process of growing my life into something large, into something new. But what no one told me was that starting fresh takes a lot of work, and it's very, very challenging. I am not afraid to admit that in these challenging moments, I stumbled, and I made mistakes, and there was even a point where I seriously thought everything was crashing and burning around me, and that was just going to be the end of it. In some ways, I felt the immense pressure to make my time here impactful, and in other ways, deep down, part of me felt that I didn't deserve this new life that I had. When I started here, I remember thinking naively that I could find my happiness in the physical things. A new routine, new people, new experiences. I was relying on these people, these material things, to make me happy, even when time and time again life threw challenges my way, or the routines faded, or the people that I relied on left. I would realize, and I'm still learning, that I couldn't find my happiness in other people. I had to find it in and for myself. Happiness for me came in many forms. I joined clubs, most notably Phalanx All Attractive a cappella. Yes, that is seriously the title, thank you. I started teaching, I found a job in my department, and I started going to therapy. It took a lot of time, and it took a lot of hard work, but slowly I started finding myself again, and I came to realize that my life didn't have to be this amazingly envious and impactful thing all of the time. I could have everything, but it would still be the things I already had and the people that I already knew that made me the happiest. My life was the size of my life, and that was more than okay. So I would like to leave you now with the rest of Jane's words from her poem, and I hope they find you where you need the most. Others I know had lives larger. Others I know had lives shorter. The depth of lives, too, is different. There were times my life and I made jokes together. There were times we made bread. Once, I grew moody and distant. I told my life I would like some time. I would like to try seeing other people. In a week, my empty suitcase and I returned. I was hungry then, and my life too, was hungry. We could not keep our hands off or our clothes on or our tongues from. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the administration, professors, family, friends, and most importantly, the class of 2023. I cannot believe this weekend has actually arrived, but here we are, together. In preparing for tonight, I try to think of all the decisions and paths you may have taken to get to this moment in time. What are the common threads that have contributed to your successes and choices in this journey called life? I would not be standing here without the love and support of so many wonderful people in my life who have contributed to this gallant effort. To paraphrase an African proverb, it takes a village. And in my case, I would say it took a flock of jays, perhaps, to get me to where I am today. I arrived at Elizabethtown College in the fall of 2019, eager to start my studies and begin my first college lacrosse season, where I would find some of my closest friends. All was great until one practice, I felt a pop in my knee. My coach drove me to my appointment and waited while I received an MRI scan. I had sustained a devastating knee injury that would require surgery, 8 weeks of not being able to bear any weight on my injured leg, and a year of rehabilitation. While my immediate thoughts surrounded not being able to play lacrosse in the spring, I soon realized that I had bigger issues that I would need to face. Seeing that I was not weight-bearing, I had to use crutches at all times. How would I get up the 2 flights of steps to my dorm room? How would I even be able to get to class and keep up with my studies? And how would I travel to get to the necessary rehabilitation to get me back on my own 2 feet? It was quite overwhelming, but my flock flew into action. The disability services staff immediately engaged with my parents and made accommodations for me. They moved me to a ground level room with easy access to a bathroom that met ADA criteria. My professors worked with me to ensure that I did not fall behind during my recovery. And my fellow Jays came to my aid, making sure that I made it to class, had meals at the cafeteria, and drove me to my rehab appointments. I may have even made it to a Halloween party on my jazzy scooter. While my injury was devastating, the response from the Elizabethtown College community was nothing short of outstanding, and the outpouring of support was immeasurable. I stand here tonight with gratitude. Gratitude for the kindness of my friends and the love and encouragement of my family at home and here. Realizing that without my flock, I would not be where I am today. I would not have made so many wonderful memories, nor met so many incredible people. E-Town is a rare gem, a compassionate and a caring community. So to all of you that have been part of my flock and part of my life, I thank you so very much and can only say, roll Jays.
In high school, it was hard to make friends and fit in. I struggled with ADHD, dyslexia, other issues that made social and academic life challenging. When I got to E-Town, I was worried that this trend of awkwardness would continue. I still felt the need to mask my symptoms, and I desperately needed an outlet. There were a lot of clubs and organizations for me to choose from, but I was too nervous to even put my email down. A few days later, I saw an announcement for Mad Cow Improv, and I decided, and they were holding auditions that night, and so I decided to go for it. It was the best decision I ever made. It's hard to put into words just how much this club means to me, but I'm here in front of you all tonight, so I might as well try. For 5 hours every week, I could take off my mask and be myself. I didn't have to hide who I was or conform to any neurotypical norms. The first time performing improv, I had the typical pre-show nerves and knot in my stomach. But once I got on stage, A calm rushed over me. I was at home. There was no expectation to memorize anything, and even though we often got many laughs, there was never an expectation to be funny. I was free to be my quirky self. I should mention we got some negative feedback after shows, but when members got upset or frustrated, my buddy Justin would always lighten the mood with his signature line, "That's showbiz, baby." Over the years, I became really close with my improv friends, and I was particularly reminded of this close connection whenever I heard the distinctive Mr. Petrocelli, meaning that Evan Vaughn was coming to greet me with his abnormally long, though firm, handshake. This past month, we had our annual Improv Your Pants Off show, where the audience would randomly choose games that we would play and also choose who was in them at random. Hearing the 100+ E-Town students cheer as we carefully rushed down the Gibble Auditorium steps was the best feeling in the world. During shows, practices, and our post-show Sunday pizza nights, I felt heard, I felt seen, and most of all, I felt validated for being myself, for being neurodivergent. In those moments, my disabilities and mental health issues didn't define me. I owe so much to this club and the friends I made within it. Their hilarity, kindness, and compassion uplifted me during the darkest moments. And in reflecting on these relationships, I saw the amazing ability we as people and we as human beings have to influence each other, for better or for worse. And this brought to mind a quote from my favorite comedian, the great, late Robin Williams. "Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always." Thank you.
When I started college, I saw it as an opportunity to fill my resume and achieve my goal of becoming a lawyer. I often asked myself why I couldn't just jump into the law school part. Why the 4 years of undergrad? But I received an incredible scholarship, and receiving that stamp scholarship provided me with some time to explore. So I decided to make the most of my experiences. I set goals for myself to pursue my passions, to study abroad in China, and again, enhance that resume. In January of 2020, I attended a STAMPS meetup event in Washington, D.C., where I made lifelong friends. We thought the craziest thing then was being in the White House. We were not prepared for the rest of what 2020 would bring. Let's just put that out there. It was a lot. Despite the pandemic, though, and attending different schools scattered across the country, we managed to stay connected and even went whitewater rafting together last October. Most recently, we reunited at the STAMPS National Convention in Atlanta, and I was reminded once again just how valuable these relationships are to me. I also began to see less value in filling my resume and more value in filling my life. Pursuing my passions and realizing that if I'm growing, I'm on the right path. Eisenhower once said, "Plans are useless, but planning is essential." My original plan had me spending a year studying abroad in China, but as it turned out, that was not in the cards for me. However, I was able to pivot and explore different interests, which led me from Capitol Hill to the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. What I'm trying to say is that life is full of surprises, and it's really easy to get caught up in a certain idea of what our life should look like. But the truth is, things don't always go according to plan, and that's okay. Sometimes it's the most unexpected twists and turns that lead us right where we're meant to be. This August, I'm moving to New York City, where I'll be joining BlackRock as an analyst. I'm joined by my friend and boyfriend, Brock. He's in the audience back there. And I met him through E-Town and the STAMP Scholarship. I know, very cute, you can awe. Shout out to Mr. Stamps for that one, though. I said thanks to him in Atlanta. All in all, my time at E-Town has taught me just how incredible the journey is when you allow yourself the flexibility and grace to explore new opportunities, even if it's not what you initially envisioned for yourself. So with that, thank you to my family, thank you to my friends at E-Town, and thank you to the STAMP Scholarship for providing me with the opportunities and experiences that have led me to where I am today. I wish you all the best on your own journeys. Have fun, be flexible, and pursue what excites you. Thank you.
Today, we stand at the end of a journey that has taken us through 4 years of growth, discovery, and challenge. But we did not make this journey alone. We had the support of our families, friends, professors, and fellow students and teammates. For the few moments I have with you, I would like to share the story of my personal experience and how moving through Elizabethtown together changed my life. During my collegiate education, I faced 2 significant challenges. Those events were the passing of my mother and an ACL injury that threatened to end my lacrosse career. These events seemed to happen simultaneously and tested me in ways that I never could have imagined. When they did, I became lost, confused, and frustrated, and I couldn't help but ask the question, why? Why is this happening to me? But through it all, I could see that I was never, ever alone. I had the unwavering support of my friends, girlfriend, teammates, and the entire college community, a group of people that would become my family away from home. When my mother passed away from cancer, my teammates rallied around me. They attended the funeral, made sure I was eating, and offered a listening ear whenever I needed it. When I suffered my ACL injury, my teammates and coaches never gave up on me. As I felt the weight of these 2 events stacking up on me, my friends went further than just checking in. They kept offering me space to talk about all my grief. And when I was not able to contribute on the field, those men worked for creative ways to let me still feel like part of the team. They encouraged me to keep pushing and to never ever lose hope. And eventually, I did find myself back on the field. It was not just my teammates, however, who helped me on this journey. The entire college community played a role. Professors who offered extensions on assignments when I needed them, coaches who listened to my struggles, and friends who provided a shoulder to cry on. All of these people helped me to traverse through those difficult times in college. And that is the beauty of journeying together. We do not have to face our challenges alone. We can lean upon each other, support one another, and lift each other up. When we journey together, we become stronger. And I am grateful for the strength that has been shared with me on my journey to this point. And I hope each of you finds that strength as you continue on your journeys as we fly from this place. To the woman who could not be here tonight and I love so very much, I miss you, Mom. Thank you.
So I don't know about all of you, but it is absolutely crazy that we graduate tomorrow. We're just a few hours away from heading out into the real world, and the real world is kind of scary. And I know I am parroting a few other speakers when I say this, but we were able to see just how scary the real world can be when halfway through our second semester, just when we were adjusting college, the whole world shut down, we were sent home, and our social lives and classrooms were relegated to webcams and laptops. Many of us lost loved ones, and those who hadn't were terrified that we would. That same year, our generation came face to face with just how complex the real world can be when the murder of George Floyd made international headlines and enraged our hearts as we demanded justice and proper reform. The threat of climate change, a problem that we inherited, wraps our mind about the future around wraps a blanket of anxiety around our ideas about the future of our planet. And on top of that, we were shown just how scary the real world can be when our first presidential election happened to be one of the most divisive in American history. At the end of our first week on campus, after that somewhat grueling week of orientation, we were in this very room, and we were told that we could do anything that we wanted to. I'm here to say, almost 4 years later, that we have. We have put these ideas to the test and have shown that we are capable of making change. As much as the education that we were provided here at Elizabethtown College has shaped our future, we have shaped the future of Elizabethtown College. We recognize that student workers, particularly those in dining services, weren't being compensated enough for their work, so we banded together and to make a change, working alongside administration, and now there's a new minimum wage here at E-Town, and dining service workers are now getting paid almost double what they were at the beginning of our first year. We did that. We recognized that we needed to build upon our culture of inclusivity and belonging here on our campus, so we formed student groups. E-Town is home to many clubs and organizations that are centered around ideas of culture, ethnicity, religion, political affiliation, gender identity, and sexual orientation, many of which were started by people in this very room. And now we're off into the real world, and maybe the problems out there seem a little bit bigger than the ones here at E-Town, but I couldn't be any more confident that we will be able to solve them. Through our education here at E-Town, we're all equipped with the necessary skills to fix just about all the problems out there, from educating the next generation of learners to using our knowledge of chemistry to clean our water and everything in between. People in this room will go on and become healthcare professionals providing crucial assistance to those in need, and others will go on to work for companies that develop technologies that will move us forward into the 21st century. And if the company that we want to work for doesn't exist, we'll start it ourselves. We have instilled in each of us a desire to problem solve, to critically think, and to stand up for what we believe in. If we were able to get them to put Quinn's piano back in the BSC, we can do anything.
There's some great speeches from everybody today. First, before I start, my beautiful mom is here. Thank you, Mom, for coming, and my aunt, too, as well. Thank you for coming, too, as well. So before I start, what does it mean to make your mark? Night Carry 201. That is where I started my challenge making my mark. All I was given was a Sharpie and a mission. The mission was to be agent for change. As the first year, that seemed very daunting. What were the expectations of making a mark? How's that going to be measured? How will my mark be considered in comparison to my colleagues? Just like a Sharpie, I determined that my mark was going to be substantial and permanent, but also with the grace and fluidity one has when using their best handwriting. Making your mark starts with unique experiences you have gained, but a plethora of positive, but also negative experiences. Those challenges, battles, arguments, or debates you go through shape the importance and interpretation of who you are and the vision you want to conquer. I have realized that for me to be successful in making my mark, I must not compare myself to others or feel the pressure to do things the same way I've seen others do the same way. To be quite frank, making or marking change adds complexity to developing your own journey. The way you mark change is unique to you. Whenever you go into a space, whenever you add insightful ideas, learn new algorithms, understand the culture around you, this is marking change. Before I had experienced this at Elizabethtown. Every time that I've gone through, I had the ability to continually add more markers in my life than I would have ever thought. I've understood that change is something that is not temporary. It becomes embedded in culture. This topic, this phrase, holds dear to me. As a black man coming to a predominantly white institution in rural central Pennsylvania, I've been doubted, ostracized, made fun of because people I believe that are going to be able to change to create a life-impacting impact. While yet I was here, I created an institutional summer program to provide access to high school students to receive college education. I founded the NAACP college chapters, pro exclusivity and power for students of color. And I've even led a petition to reform our student government successfully. I say all these things because when marking change, permanence, strength, and perseverance are the most profound characteristics you must instill in yourself. Everyone's journey is different. Change is as impactful as you desire. When someone asks you how you'll mark change, you can say this: I already have. A mark is for me to decide and for you to witness. Only you could mark the success of your change. It's upon you to decide your path. It's upon you to decide to take on your challenge of pushing yourself to see impact for others. Thank you so much.
As our journey at E-Town comes to an end, we are called to reflect on what we did here, what we accomplished. Some of us think about the grades we earned, or the sports we played, or maybe the clubs we participated in, or even the events that we went to. As we reflect, one accomplishment that we often overlook is the impact that we had on others, on what our significance was. During our first year, we took the Clifton Strengths Test and received 5 special words that some of us never thought about again. For me, I became a peer mentor, one of my favorite accomplishments, and got to explore my strengths a little bit deeper. Significance was in my top 5, but I didn't quite understand why at the time. Well, why is the whole point of significance? Why do we do the things that we do? What significance does it hold over others? I never quite understood until I had one conversation that stuck with me. So let me tell you a story. I ran into one of my peer students toward the end of his first semester, and we started talking. I asked how he felt the semester had gone, and he admitted that it was tough for him. He said that at one of his lowest points, he was really considering transferring. The classes weren't what he was expecting, he wasn't connecting to many of the opportunities around him, and he felt isolated in a place that he should be calling home for the next 4 years. It broke my heart to think that in a place that I loved, there was someone feeling so lost. It must have shown on my face because he said, "Darcy, don't worry, I'm not transferring." Pleasantly surprised, I asked what made him change his mind. He just looked at me with this lopsided, incredulous grin and said, "You." Me. If I was pleasantly surprised before, I was shocked now. Before I could write off his declaration, he insisted, saying, "No, really, Darcy, you brought such enthusiasm to our conversations and looked at your surroundings in a positive light. Through your optimism and good advice, I was able to start seeing E-Town through your eyes and finding the opportunities that most connected to me. I found the people that I feel belonging with. You are the reason I'm still here." You never know the impact that you have on someone else. I don't even remember what I said during most of our conversations, but it made such a difference to him. How many times did my day-to-day interactions hold such impact over someone else? How many other people have similar stories but just didn't tell me, just didn't tell you? Every day we hold significance in the way we interact with others, in the way that we might impact them. So when you look back on all your accomplishments, don't forget those small moments of kindness to others, those smiles at passing strangers, or the compliment to someone who just needed to hear it. Don't forget about the impact you have on those around you. As we journey together, remember that you hold significance in the lives of others and that you can be someone's reason for finding where they belong. Thank you.
This is a letter that is written to the class of 2027. It seems like just yesterday, we, the class of 2023, were sitting where you are, excited, frightened, nervous, and a combination of so many more emotions. As a class, we gathered together some wise words for you in hopes of inspiring you to live your life to the fullest here at Elizabethtown. It may seem like a bulleted list of advice, but it is from our hearts, so here it is. When transitioning into college, give yourself grace. You are navigating a new stage in life, and everyone around you is doing the same. While you are here, take as many photos and videos as you can, but don't forget to live these moments as well. Step out of your comfort zone. When meeting new people, keep in mind that everyone you meet is coming from a different experience than you have had. Respect others for how they come, not for who you expect them to be. Know your limits and stick to them. Never let anyone make you feel bad about yourself. Stop caring what people think. Do whatever makes your heart happy and keep doing that. Remember that not everyone you meet will like you, not everyone you meet will be kind, and some people will probably be disrespectful. If at any point you need help, remember you have support systems here on campus. Seek them out. Whenever you need encouragement, remember we were just as scared as you might be right now. Some of us still are. When it comes to learning, be patient and know that learning happens both inside and outside of the classroom. Utilize office hours and reach out to your professors. E-Town professors are the best, and they want to help you in whatever way that they can. They want you to succeed not only as students, but also as people. Everyone wants to do well in school, but studying with no breaks will lead to burnout. Study as much as you can and plan efficiently. Set goals for yourself and keep striding towards them. Don't procrastinate. It's easier said than done, of course, but that will set you up for success. Take time to get to know yourself and prioritize your health always. Sleep as much as you can. You will need it, and your brain will thank you in return. Make time for your friends. They will most likely be your friends for life. See a movie, go to events, and enjoy every moment with them because 4 years flies by in an instant, and they won't live 20 feet away. Remember that it is okay for your path to change. You will get to where you're meant to be. Taking the straightaway path is boring anyways. Let yourself cry and then learn to let things go. Closing a chapter means the start of a new one. Don't stress the small stuff and keep pushing forward. Soon you will be hearing the letter that your class writes to the freshmen of 2031. Live in the present. These will be some of the best years of your life. Remember that the days are long, but the weeks are short. Don't rush through it. Welcome to the Blue Jay family. Blue Jays always. Love, the class of 2023.
The class of 2023 has tried to leave a lasting impression here at Elizabethtown College through our push for blind grading awareness to allow for a more fair and equal way for our professors to grade, our ADA accessibility advocacy, as well as our senior gift of an ADA endowment, and lastly, a donation of graduate school test prep textbooks and hope to help those who are at a socioeconomic disadvantage due to their high cost. As we prepare to pass the flame to our next year's class, we now invite the representatives of the next rising classes to come forward.
We, the officers of the class of 2023, are about to pass on the mantle of leadership to you, the members of the new assembly. We want to remind you that in countless ways, the senior class members shape the climate of the campus and determine the experience the underclassmen will have here at Elizabethtown College. This is a great responsibility and not to be taken lightly.
As you take on the mantle of leadership, we remind you of your responsibilities in shaping a positive environment for intellectual, social, emotional, spiritual, and physical development of students on campus. Assembly will encourage students in working to create a campus that truly educates for service and is also an enjoyable place to live for 4 years. If you, members of Assembly, are willing to accept this responsibility, please say we will.
We will. This large candle that has been burning throughout the service represents the light that the class of 2023 has shown at Elizabethtown College. As we light the candles of the officers of the class of 2024, we now officially pass the mantle of leadership to those rising to leadership. This large candle also represents the light that the members of the class of 2023 will shed on the world as we end our journey here at Elizabethtown and step into the future. We will now begin the candle lighting ceremony. Please pass on the light to those next to you by extending the unlit candle to those holding the light. Four years ago, at our first year induction, we shared a litany and lit candles in the Dell as we said hello to each other for the first time. Tonight, as we prepare to say farewell to our college years, I invite you, all of the members of the class of 2023, to stand as we read together one more time. Would the seniors please stand and join me in reading the litany in your program? Over the last 4 years, we, the class of 2023, have shared a journey. We celebrate the knowledge we have gained from our coursework and the friendships we have made.
Tonight, we stand on the threshold of a new adventure.
As we prepare for a new journey in a world full of both uncertainty and possibility,
We remember that the college seal calls for Deus, Lux, et Veritas, and the college motto is Educate for Service.
we reaffirm our commitment to God and light true truths of service.
Through Throughout our lives, let us continue our quest for knowledge, justice, and truth. Let us always remember that the light of ages shines unwavering, even in the midst of darkness.
I will invite those standing to be seated, and you may extinguish your candles. Class of 2023, I cannot say what a gift and what a joy and what a pleasure it has been to journey together with you. It has been probably the most significant journey, going through all that you did during the pandemic and defining your time, but my goodness, how you have impressed us. As we prepare for commencement tomorrow, as we prepare to leave this place, I hope that you, each and every one of you, will be able to find the space to continue to share and connect, to reflect and enjoy one another's company, to continue to think about what it has meant to be and to journey together. Thank you all, especially every parent, grandparent, friend, and champion here, for all that you have shared with us this evening. As you leave, I am going to invite you to take your candles with you, and please note that there are receptacles at the doors for you, and thank you for returning them as you exit. So now, as we prepare to depart, I hope that you will receive this blessing. As you go from this time into new places, may you discover the light that you have carried within you is also a guide in you out in the world. May the community you have built here and the stories created endure and continue to point you to all you cherished here. May you center in the knowledge that you need to continue discovering and creating. May the roots you nourished here ground you as you prepare to serve and work in the communities waiting for you. May the deep wells you have invested in provide enduring abundance and sustain you wherever you go. In all things, may peace surround you, and may you always remember that you are not alone. Blessings and congratulations to the class of 2023. Go in peace. One last big round of applause.